Take a look now, darling, darling. I just want to see you smiling. To shoot the clouds right out the sky.
Why, hello there. I imagine that you know my name is Will, and I am about to begin a backpacking adventure to Singapore via bus, by train and by ferry over, I think, about 22 countries. And as such, I thought it was probably a good idea to chronicle my travels, and I thought a vlog would be a convenient, easy, stress-free way to do so. And I have already found that's wrong. It's actually a massive pain in the arse, because when you try and just sort of say what you're thinking to the camera, the little beady eye stares back at you and you find yourself speaking total bollocks. And there's something very sort of vulnerable about knowing that everything is visible, that your acne, that if you're feeling stiff and tense, it's all there. The camera doesn't miss anything. But that notwithstanding, welcome to my first vlog, where I'm sitting at home and contemplating my trip and where I'm at and what my motivations are, really. So my main motivation for the trip is essentially that I really, really want to. Ever since I was in America in 2015, where I had a few weeks of travelling by myself and had such a good time that I just knew that one day I wanted to travel solo for longer, like not just for a few weeks. Because it really was it was probably the most meaningful 2 weeks of my life up until that point, in that I travelled across most of the US for 2 months with friends, with an itinerary, with a sense of sort of structure and that sort of warm embrace of knowing somebody. But then in Portland, Seattle and Vancouver, I was sort of thrust forward, not really knowing what was going to happen. And I've had that very sort of, I suppose, common backpacker experience of just presenting oneself as one is, not in keeping with the role you play in a family or the role you play with your friends or at work, but just yourself to strangers, and then receiving overt warmth and acceptance to who you really, really are. And I finished this little 2-week stretch and wrote an embarrassingly earnest entry in my travel journal about it, which I am in two minds about reading out on the internet, but I think it helps make sense of why I'm doing this big trip now. So bear with me and bear with the fact that I'm tempted to do it in a funny voice to try and remove some of the earnestness from it. But so the 17th of July 2015, I'm feeling a lot right now, lol. And it does in fact indeed say the word lol, as you can see. Not necessarily in a bad way either. I'm grieving the end of the trip. I fear going home to Whitney, but I also feel a great sense of freedom. I've taken another huge step from my box. I'm doing it, and that's underlined. I'm not experiencing the euphoria of Seattle. I'm aware of the parts of me that are anxious and vulnerable, but they're okay. I don't feel guilty. That's such an important sentence. I don't feel guilty. I do not feel guilty. I have nothing to apologise for. I am not a waste of space. I really am okay. People like Zach and Amit and Darren and Kaya and Hoyt and, to an extent, Maya, they have all gifted me something. Acceptance. Thank you all so much. How these emotions will survive in my everyday life remains to be seen. I have real optimism though. And there's a little smiley face There we go. So since that journal entry, I have done 2.5 week solo trips through Europe, and they were in their own ways life-changingly important as well. But the idea of leaving and not having a time to come back, not having that structure of it being within annual leave or having a role of life that's waiting for me to fit back in, the fact that I have now, it's maybe over dramatic, but I have severed my life here. I've said the goodbyes, I've left the groups and the organisations and the job and the social places that I fit in, and there's nothing really there to mean I have to come back anytime soon. I could go for a year, I could go for 2 years. Maybe I won't want to. I'm probably going to get sick of drinking bottled water and having to sort of avoid mosquitoes, but I am excited and nervous to see what happens to me with that boundless future. And it is possible that I just get sick of it and I just want to come back, and that will be okay. I will have found that out. Though for me, this trip also has a sense of life shift, and that even if I went for a month, had enough and came home, it wouldn't be the same again. Because I'm living in my dad's house in my hometown, and I have been for the last 4 years since I graduated university. And it's been really uncomplicatedly a good thing, in that it's offered this financial foundation, but this emotional foundation, sort of the oversight of a parent figure, I guess, but proximity to school friends and this secure, known environment to do a lot of becoming myself and a lot of interesting things and a lot of growing up. But I had this moment 6 or maybe longer than that, 6-ish months ago, where I suddenly went, Christ, I can't be here as this is anymore. I maybe I'll come back to Witney one day, but I need to shift. The security of parents' house, hometown, is now starting to detract. There are muscles you can't flex here, and from now on it's going to be diminishing returns of what I get out from being here. So this trip isn't just something I want to do, it's also, I'd like to think, a marker that semi-adolescence, post-university semi-adolescence ends here, and another step towards sailing my own ship, full-on adulthood, that awaits. And it's probably very likely that I'm going to go away and run out of money completely and have to come back here for some time, but in a way it's not that important. It's the sense of distancing myself from the structures of my Witney life that I've been living. And that is essentially the main emotion that I'm sitting with this leading into my trip. It's not excitement. People keep going, oh, you're excited? And it's like, well, not really. I'm mainly just saying goodbye a lot. I'm feeling a sense of change, but change in a way that you know is good, that you're doing because you know it's positive. But I think in lots of people, in varying amounts, there's this desire to resist change and to cling on to things that you know you like and to stay in ports that you know are safe. And you know that you have to push away from it for your own sake, but I've been wandering Oxfordshirean fields, running my hands over dry stone walls and sort of saying goodbye a lot, which is probably completely over the top. But it's been my subjective experience that I am waving goodbye to this chunk of my life. And that's good, but also unpleasant. So there's a lot going on, as you can see, and I think it will all become a lot simpler actually once I've gone. I think I've not been working for a few weeks and I've been sitting around ruminating and looking at the sky and going, why? And actually once I'm doing trains, meeting people, sitting in nice places, it will all become a lot simpler and I'll just start to enjoy it. So that's it really. I hope you can subscribe to the channel, and you can see where I go from here. I have no idea. I'm hoping that I don't just make lots of videos going, oh my goodness, I'm having a wonderful time. I'm hoping it'll be something more interesting than that, but we shall see. Maybe I'll grow a long beard and sit here and offer wisdom about how to live one's life, but I kind of hope not. But yeah, keep well, and I'll see you soon, I guess.
That's my dear. There's no getting out of here. Gold dust, my friend. You will chase it to